excited that we're going to get to talk to Captain Smith. I know Holly is also very excited about this interview. And before we get started, has Captain Smith been hanging around with you before the
He has for a couple days now, actually. He is anxious and honored that he gets to tell his story. And he's very interesting. And he's here and ready to go.
Fantastic. What does he look like? What is he wearing?
He presents himself in the typical sailor outfit. He is in black, and it's gold, and there's like it's crossed, and I see it's very formal uniform that he's wearing right now.
Yeah, I figured that's why I asked, because I figured he was probably wearing his uniform.
He said he feels most comfortable in his uniform because he spent most of his life in one.
Oh, okay. Does that include his childhood?
Not so much his childhood, but he says that he grew up really fast. His father died while he was young, and he felt like he had to go make money to help support the family. So at first he did something else, and he's showing me mines. So I feel like he might have been a miner at first, but he was really young. And then he says that his love affair with the sea began when he was in his very early teens.
Wow, okay, he just answered the next question I was going to ask him, which was, why did he end up being a captain? But I figured it was that he had some type of love for the sea or the ocean, or, something like that. So
he said he feels that's where he belonged.
Oh, okay. All right. Fantastic. So was the Titanic, I really haven't had time to study, about him, so I apologize. But was the Titanic his first ship, or he had plenty of...
Oh, by no means, no.
Okay.
He says by absolutely no means, in no way, was it my first ship. So at 14 I started out on a ship, and I made it to first mate, and I progressed in this in the rankings because I loved it so well, and I had a very good understanding of mechanics and the sea and the ships. So by the time I was 23, I'm 23? He says 23, okay. That he made first mate, and he assisted the captain and everything, and he says, I soaked up every second of every day of every second I was with him. It was enthralling. I absolutely loved running the ship. And then by the time I was 25, sounds like, he became a captain.
Wow.
So by the time, and he says Titanic was not even his first large ship. He says he worked for the cruise line, for many years before he was commissioned to the Titanic. Baltic, Adriatic.
Those sounds like seas.
No. They're the names of ships.
Oh, okay.
That I'm getting, and he's trying to tell me others, and I'm a little fuzzy on them.
Okay.
Um,
Wow. So I mean, and after I asked the question, it was kind of silly because think about it. I mean, the Titanic, they're talking about, it was the latest and the greatest. Of course, they're going to send a captain that had a lot of experience, to manage that ship. So
he said it was a lot of
sense.
money. It was the most money they've ever spent on a ship. And they would not have, you're correct, young lady, he says they would not have entrusted that to just anybody.
Well, thank you for the young part, by the way.
He says you're welcome.
So a question that I had was, we've heard so many stories, so many theories. There was a movie. What really happened that night? Tell us, the what really happened. We want to hear it from you.
The sequence of events as he remembers it is like this. He retired to his quarters and he said he liked his brandy. And he had quite a bit of brandy before he went to bed. And the next thing he remembers is being woken up and being told that that the ship had hit an iceberg and that he needed to come to the bridge immediately. They were taking on water. We were taking on water. He said immediately he jumped up to assess the damage. And immediately went to the bridge to assess the state of affairs. It was quite catastrophic. And I realized that very soon. And I called Andrew to the bridge.
You called who to the bridge?
Andrew, the guy who designed the boat.
Oh, okay.
And that meeting, it was evident that there was no rescuing the Titanic. And we had discussed where they had cut and made cuts in his designs. The two biggest cuts were the materials that they used to form the ship. The other cut was the lifeboats, because they didn't expect anything to happen ever. They figured by the time it came back they had plenty of time to get more lifeboats and figure out how to put them on there. Oh, they were so sadly wrong.
Oh, wow.
There is Andrew left the bridge. I did what I could. I told my crew to help the women and the children, and then help yourself as much as you can. There's been much speculation as to how I died that day.
Yes.
There's speculation as to whether I shot myself. There's speculation as to whether I went in the water and rescued people. There's speculation as to if I went down with the ship. I'm here telling you that because of my love for the sea and my love for the boats, there was nothing else that I would have ever done in this situation except go down with my ship.
Wow.
I pulled out my best brandy and my best brandy snifter. And I tried to muffle out the noise.
Wow.
When the boat split in two, I was thrown through the glass where I hit my head and was knocked unconscious, and I drowned. But I went down with my ship.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
He said, "You're welcome." He says it's an amazing thing to him that it's such a big and huge part of history, but when you consider how many lives were lost that day and the enormity of not only how they were lost, but the money that was lost.
Yes, a huge, huge, tragic, historical event. And how does it... Go ahead.
That was to be my last voyage on the Titanic. I was planning on retiring. That was my last voyage on the Titanic.
Wow.
They were building another ship, even bigger than the Titanic, for which I would have come out of retirement for the maiden voyage.
Wow, interesting.
To end my career with a bang, so to speak, he says.
Right.
But my career ended with another bang, and he chuckles.
Well, you know what? You were a part of history, and that's, I mean, that's big. A part of history.
He says, "Young lady, I would have preferred to be part of history in another form. I do
Yes.
understand the gravity of the events and the effect of the events that happened. I understand this was my contract. But it would have been nicer to go out as captain of the largest ship ever with a successful career."
Right. Right, I'm sure.
There's so much doubt cast upon me because why did we sail into those icebergs? Why did I not know? Why was nobody warned this big ship? You know, everybody was so taken with the party and the event and the opening and the grandeur of it all. There were people messaging the passengers and messages coming in so fast that the messages about the iceberg never made it to the deck, to the captain's bridge. I was rather pompous because I believed that she was indestructible.
Well, that's what you were told.
I totally believed that she was indestructible, and that had we even grazed the icebergs like we had, that she would not have been affected.
Right. And it makes sense. I mean, that's what you were told. So it makes total sense. Are there any other stories that you feel are being told that are not true that you want to set straight?
He says there were no Jack and Rose aboard. He's got a bit of a sense of humor. He's very stoic, very proper, like a British proper.
Right.
You're welcome, and very polite. So that little joke made me giggle.
Excellent.
He says there's so much speculation that goes on with it, and really doesn't make a difference. I can tell you from my perspective what happened from me and my point of view. Were they all accurate? The rest of the stories, I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty out there. I can only give you what I know to be true.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure if there was anything that you felt strongly
Anything else?
about.
Okay. I'm going to ask him again. He says that the only other thing he feels so strongly about was his wife and his daughter. That leaving them, although they were financially taken care of, but leaving them was hard. He loved them very much. He says, I did not marry until later in life and had my precious daughter later in life. And if there were such thing as a regret, that's what it would be, leaving them so soon and by themselves. She was my one true love.
Wow.
She understood me. She understood that I was married to the sea first, but that did not diminish the love that I had for her. And she was the perfect fit for me.
Wow.
We're together again, of course.
Right. Oh, beautiful.
She stands next to him, and he puts his arm on her forearm like this.
Aww.
He's very sweet and tender with her.
That's amazing. Wonderful.
She just told me that even though that she was his one and only true sweet bond and love, that he had affairs during their marriage because it was hard for him to be away at sea, and that she had just come to terms with that, and that they had a very she laughs, modern day marriage, meaning modern day today, meaning open. Okay,
right.
I get you have needs, and you're
right.
over here and I'm over here. So that's kind of what she's talking about. So I'm just honoring that and saying, whatever the marriage is, the both of yous make it. Doesn't mean it has to be anybody else's idea. And she thanked me for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. It's an honor. Okay.
I'm so glad she came by and stopped by. That's wonderful.
Me too.
We have a couple of other questions that we had for him.
Okay.
How was he able to process his feelings about the tragedy when he crossed over?
He says, before I crossed over, I'd already come to terms with the fact that this happened. He says, as I knew the catastrophic nature of the damage to the ship, and I knew that she was going to go down hard and fast, and I knew there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. As I sat there, I remembered my life and how many ships I'd been on and my love affair with the sea and how very wonderful and blessed it had been. And that how fitting was it that the sea would have me into eternity. And she was my great love. So I came to terms with it before I crossed.
Beautiful way to put it. All right, let's see. Did any of the souls who lost their lives have a contract to stay in the body into death, or did they all leave before they died?
Well, I have a whole room full of people behind him. Like a lot of people. And I'm asking them if that is an answer that can be made by the collective that's here because there's so many of them, or is it an individual thing to each and every soul that took part in this contract?
Right.
In a past life, I passed away on the Titanic. And it's been a challenging day for me, personally. I have not been able to get warm all day. I felt like I was sick and I was tired. And I just asked my higher self, was this a contract that, we had individually? Or are we a part of the collective? And she said yes and yes. So, individually, yes, we made that contract to experience that. And did we, and were we taken away from our bodies before we passed away? Not before our soul purpose was fully acknowledged and realized. There were people that survived and told the story that day.
Yes.
There would not have been a story had we all turned up dead.
Right.
So there were many of us that lived the horror. Of plunging into the ice cold water and inhaling it and tasting the salt water. And then coming up to the surface and seeing a pitch sky with stars and lifeboats scattered and debris and bodies and cold. 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 You can't catch your breath cold.
Right.
And I remember a lifeboat that was full coming to pull me out, and I would have been too much. And try as they may, they prayed and let me go under.
I'm so sorry you're having to go through this.
It's got to be released, so it's all good.
Yeah. Well, everything happens for a reason.
Once I release this, maybe I'll release the fear of cruise ships.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's right. Yeah, this is happening for a reason, I'm sure.
The people in the lifeboats told this story. And that was my reason for hanging on into the body before crossing. But as a collective, we all chose that ending, that exit point,
Right.
to take part in that historic event. And you can see that it holds great mystery still to this day.
Yes. For sure. Well, I hope that definitely helped you.
It did,
Celestine.
and Captain,
And the last question that we had from the winner for the question who won, her question, Christy Baker, was, has he reincarnated yet?
he says no, and he doesn't plan to soon, according to our guidelines. He is quite content sailing the seas with the new upstart, he says, captains,
Mm-hmm.
and inspiring them. But no, he doesn't have plans like in our lifetime to
Okay.
come back.
All right. And one more quick question, and this one is Eric's. We didn't want to forget about Eric. So what does Mr. Eric have for his question?
There's not many times when he doesn't have something to say. He's a little stymied. Hold on while he thinks for a question. I'm like, pick something. What you got, E? Okay. I think you already know the answer to this, but I'll ask it for the audience. He asked, what was it like to pass in such a mass tragedy? Like, were you going up with all the souls? Did you all cross together? Were all your family members there? And Captain Smith said that it was an individual experience for each and every one of us. That it was not where we all held hands and crossed into the gates of heaven by any means. He said it was an individual experience, the same as it would be had we passed one at a time on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty cool question.
Yeah.
But Captain told me that I was a crew member.
Oh, wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
So did you know him personally?
Mm-hmm. He says that we work very closely together.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Ah, wow. I was the one that woke him up.
No way.
He just went, yes, young lady way. And then he says, I hope this helps you come to terms because you used to love the large ships.
Oh, wow.
Well, we'll see.
Incredible.
We'll see. Yep, I kind of feel lighter though, to be honest with you. But it was a tough day dealing with this stuff because, as empaths, a lot of us don't understand. Are we sick? Is it somebody else's? What is this? And I finally realized it after I came home today. Why I couldn't get warm.
Wow.
And what it was and why I was feeling just so weird.
Yeah, it all makes sense. Absolutely.
Yep.
It all makes sense. Any parting words before we go? I know we've run long, but I want to make sure that, if there's anything that he feels that he wants us to learn or he wants us to know or anything.
Yes. He says that nothing man-made is invincible. If it's of source, if it's from source, and you can't see it, you still can believe it. That's real. That's invincible. Source's power is ever present, ever powerful. Had I relied on my gut instinct rather than my brain, the results would have been different. But since I didn't, I wasn't meant to, obviously.
Right.
But this great event came about. And what it taught me is anything man-made, anything, is an illusion and not invincible.
Thank you so much. I am so very honored that you were here with us and and your wife and all the people that died. I thank you all for being here, and I'm honored that you graced us with your presence and, and that you went through what you went through. Just an incredible life lesson. And
He tips his captain's hat. And he says, "You're quite welcome, young lady, and it was an honor and a pleasure to speak with you." And he thanks me, and then he departs.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Celestine, for an amazing job once again.
You are welcome. It's quite interesting, huh? Phew.
Quite